Okay, as I mentioned, today we're going to be looking at how as service providers you can create services beyond load balancing, and also look at how you can license Kemp products and services for maximum return on your investment. So if we look at Kemp, it's much more than just load balancing. As well as providing load balancing for your services and customer applications, there are opportunities to deliver more value to customers and to drive additional revenue. You can enhance your own business resilience with highly available load balancer pairs and load balancing across multiple locations, but you can also make these capabilities available to customers as premium business continuity offerings. Kemp also include many security features, such as a web application firewall that can bring real value to customers by offering a layer of security on top of their website. And we can also enhance that as well with services such as managed authentication. So we can build these services on top of their applications. As customers consume a mix of hosted on-premise and cloud services, Kemp can provide that single point for customers to manage and monitor their application delivery. And we also offer the opportunity for the building of managed applications services, so that you can actually add value by managing the customer's infrastructure, where you leverage a combination of Kemp products, services, and support, and to offer application delivery management as a service. Again, one of the key things to being able to deliver these services profitably is how easily you can integrate. So we support auto provisioning and licensing of services across your estate. We provide the environment where you can take standardized configurations and apply them consistently, rapidly across customers. So for example, if you're providing a hosted application service, you can define that configuration once and it's a cookie cutter to deliver to all your customers. If a change is required, you can apply that change to multiple customers automatically. And also provide automation. And again, it's support for automation frameworks such as Ansible and Puppet, along with APIs, so you can rule your own automation as well. And just to make it simple and easy to automate the complete customer lifecycle, including licensing, provisioning, upgrades, etc. So looking at some of the licensing options available from a service provider point of view, Kemp offer 3 different licensing options. We've got what we call our SPLA model, a metered model, and a pooled model. And we'll just take a look at each of these models now to see how each of them can be applied in a service provider environment. If we look at SPLA licensing is very simple. It allows you to license Kemp products on a month-to-month basis, allowing you to align completely with the customer requirements. So you pick the size of load balancer that you want, you issue your licenses to your customers as required. This can be done on demand. It doesn't require any procurement process or any purchase orders being raised with Kemp. It's completely on demand. And that allows you to add as you require. It allows you to remove on a monthly basis. So if you've got customer churn, or you've got customers, even a customer that wants to grow to a higher capacity or to scale back in their capacity, SPLA allows you to, on a per customer basis, go, I want to move that customer from 100 meg to 500 meg, or that customer has churned, I want to remove, and that's on a monthly basis, and it provides you with complete flexibility. It's pay monthly, and it's based on the number of actual devices that you have at each capacity, and it's in arrears. So at the end of the month, everything is counted up in terms of what you've deployed, and it makes sure that your costs are aligned with your revenues. In terms of building additional services around SPLA, all our SPLA offering include the identity and access management part in there. So again, you can layer in value-added authentication services, running something like potentially secure ID as a service, something like that. You can layer that in on top very easily. The web application firewall, bringing that value of, a customer application may an additional layer of security. You can be able to provide that to them. And also geographic server load balancing. So if you have your own multiple data center environment, or if a customer is in a hybrid cloud environment, you can offer that load balancing across multiple locations, which also can play into the disaster recovery and business continuity story as well. Next, we're going to take a look at metered licensing. And metered licensing essentially avoids the challenge that with perpetual licenses that you have, where you essentially have over provisioning. You have idle capacity that you plan and anticipate, and by definition, you're going to have idle capacity there, but this has to be paid for, and you're planning for peaks, etc., in what traffic your customers may have. With metered licensing, what you do is we take each load balancer and measure its peak usage on a monthly basis, and that's what you pay for on the peak. So it's always right sized. Now this gives you a lot of flexibility, because you can take your existing load balancers, you can scale them up, okay? You can add in additional load balancers, you can remove them, and all of this is on demand. And at no stage is there any worry about, license size or license recovery. For example, that I've issued a license, I need to recover it. It's purely about how many load balancers that you have live and the peak traffic that each of them are going through, passing through. And again, this is very, very suited to environments where there is seasonal usage, where there's peaks in demand. For example, it could be an educational establishment, and in September it may be extremely busy. It could be retail, where in the holiday season or whatever, that they have peaks there. And rather than having a load balancer with idle capacity for 11 months of the year, you can use metered licensing to address these peaks. Metered subscriptions are available in a number of annual tiers. So starting off at 10 gig on up to unlimited. With all of the tiers, you've got access to 24/7 support from Kemp, and it includes Kemp G60 Central, which is your monitoring and automation and configuration management framework, and Kemp G60 Vision, which is essentially proactive monitoring and issue resolution across all your environment. So that is bundled in as well. And again, those value-added services in there of identity and access management, firewall, and geographic load balancing are included in there as well. With metered licensing subscriptions, you can issue out any amount of load balancers. There is no restriction on the number of individual load balancers that you issue within the subscription. And it's all measured, and you can actually go over your subscription. So there's flexibility in there as well to allow you to go over your subscribed amount to give you total control over it. Kemp have recently are about to bring to market, next week, pool licensing. And pool licensing is an efficient and cost-effective approach to licensing in very dynamic environments where licenses may change quickly. The way that it works, again, is relatively simple. A pool of license capacity is provided, and this pool can then be issued out in a number of different capacity slices. Okay, so it starts off at 50 megabits per second of capacity, right up to 10 gigabits. And with pool licensing, the idea is that you issue out a license. As you issue out a license, it takes away from the capacity that's available, and you can recover licenses back into the pool. And when a license is no longer required, and the capacity becomes available within the pool for reissue. If a load balancer requires a larger license, for example, you can literally relicense with a larger license without having to redeploy, and the original capacity is returned to the pool and the new capacity is taken out, and that allows you to scale up and down within it. And this is very useful in environments where you need to give some capacity to, on a short-term basis, to a customer, to a department within your organization. So for example, it could be a test environment, so you can provide the capacity to the test environment and take it back in again. As I say, it will be available for order from April the 6th, and there will be detail appearing on the website very shortly after that, giving the detail around pricing, etc. on pooled. So that, in summary, is how as a service provider you can leverage Kemp to deliver value-added services, how you can license it so that you have your costs are aligned to what your revenues are with your customers, and that you could the right product in there, providing the license in there to match how your business operates. Again, if you need more information, you can contact us on Partner Central at kemp.ax. Obviously, visit the website, and depending on your region, North America or in the UK, we have Brian and Tim, and you may just want to contact your local Kemp representative around that. So at this stage, I just look at seeing if we have any questions here, and I'll just give you a thank you first of all, and just to show that I'm still live here, I'm going to sorry, just one moment. I have a question in here. Yeah, which licensing option should I use? Okay, so I'll just start my video here. I don't know if my video can be seen, just so you can see that I'm actually here live on this. Okay, so I'm not sure if you can see my face there, but the first question is, which licensing option should I use? This very much depends on a number of different factors. One of them is scale and how much capacity you actually are looking for. So, for example, something like the SPLA is very much suited to an environment, the smaller environment, because you can literally purchase a license on a per customer basis, so that's always completely aligned. You take something like a metered license, it's got an entry point of 10 gig. you would need to have your projects there that would consume that to make it financially appropriate to go with metered. And pooled, again, is slightly different. Again, metered gives you that ability to quickly ramp up to achieve those peaks in demand, whereas pooled is unfixed. So there's a number of different factors there. It's about the scale of your operation, the traffic profile of your customers as well, and potentially the traffic profile of some of your own services that you're providing to the load balancer. So that's that. Another question: what's the difference between them, and which is the best approach? Again, it's that idea of you have to look at your scale and the type of services that you're trying to provide. If you, for example, are in SPLA and you start operating SPLA at scale, it can make sense to move to a pooled license because it could work out financially more beneficial to you. Whereas a metered licensing scenario may not. Sometimes you will want to cap your customers from going above a certain, so you've sold somebody essentially a 1 meg line to to a web application, then you may use the load balancer as a way of saying, okay, I will provide them with 1 meg of capacity their peak, and use the load balancer as the way to control that. So which one to use, it varies very much. And again, our Kemp folks would be able to engage with you and provide guidance on that. And the next question: when will it be available? Pool licensing, we're launching next week on the 6th of April the 6th, and it's available immediately for order then. And our SPLA and metered licensing options, they're already available. You can order those today. Okay, I think that's all the questions. Oh, we've got a quick question. Can we get the deck sent to us? We'll be providing a recording of this here, so you'll have the content. The deck, we will have a version of the deck available shortly afterwards as well. Good question. Do contract terms differ between the license types? The contract terms for pool licensing and for metered licensing are annual contracts, whereas SPLA can be essentially it's a month to month in terms of you can add, remove, and move up and down with have 100 load balancers this month and scale back to 20 the following month, and then back up to 40 the month after. You've got a lot more flexibility month to month within the SPLA operation. Got a quick question. Can you explain the Kemp 360 Central role for these 3 options? Kemp 360 Central is the licensing engine for metered and pooled. We have improvements in Kemp 360 Central coming out as part of the launch next week, so that from within Kemp 360 Central, you'll be able to see the metered usage for all of your load balancers, and also if you've got a pool license, you'll be able to see how much of your pool is being consumed. So Kemp 360 Central is an integral part of how you actually license that. It's an on-premise license server, but along with licensing, you also get your monitoring, your automation, your configuration management in there as well. With SPLA, SPLA doesn't depend on Kemp 360 Central, but you're entitled to Kemp 360 Central as part of SPLA, and you can use it again for your automation, for your configuration management, etc. in there. Are all the various services included under all license types, or are they optional? Okay, with pooled and metered licensing, all the services are included as standard. So your 24/7 support, your web application firewall, and so on, your geographic load balancing, they're all included. With the SPLA, you have an option to get a basic instance, or you can get a WAF enabled instance as well. So that gives you your additional features in there. If you want to have geographic load balancing, you can actually get that as a standalone feature on its own as well. Okay, that seems to be all the questions. I can't see anything else. Okay, right. If there's no further questions, then I will like to thank you all for attending, and take care, everybody out there. It's we're in interesting times, and thank you all, and hopefully you'll have found this here useful and get talking to our people. Thank you very much. Bye.